Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our live watch-along for Alfreton Town's very short away trip to Mickleover FC in the Derbyshire Senior Cup semi-final. A trip to Pride Park is what's at stake for tonight's victor, and the winner will play either Buxton or Derby County's under-21 side in the final at Pride Park. So a nice little prize for the winner tonight. We'll see which way that goes, but Alfreton Town themselves, I think, just need to remember what winning feels like tonight, and this is probably a solid opportunity for them to do that. Mickleover not having the best of times in their league at the moment, down in the relegation zone, having been shifted to a new league after their good spell last season, finishing up in the playoff places but not quite getting over the line. So a tricky season for them, but they've made it to the semi-final of the County Cup, and we'll see who comes out on top tonight. There's 3 former Alfreton players in the Mickleover lineup, and those teams will bring to you as they take to the pitch in around 10 minutes or so. So, Matty, what are your thoughts on the game tonight?
It's one of them where I don't think there's much about it. Like, there's not going to be too much to worry about in terms of the grand scheme of things. I think everyone's main focus is the league. Everyone wants us to kind of get back to winning ways, but, you know, a win's always invited, and I think for us, a trip to Pride Park would be fantastic, and I think we may have just died as I give it a check. We've had some incredibly frustrating issues already with the stream, so hopefully, I don't know if we're alive.
The time is still
maybe
going.
We are alive. Maybe we are alive.
Yeah.
So
we've had a few technical issues.
I want to bash my head off the wall.
Has it killed
more
us?
or less?
Are we still alive?
No. Oh,
the frames are fine.
Frames are good. Extreme status, excellent. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to refresh it on my page, and then that might
fingers
do
crossed.
something. I think I want to get my phone in a position where it's getting good bars on my 5G. No,
hold it out on the corner.
Yeah.
Will can hear us great. The video's jumpy. Thank you, Will.
Jumpy. That's great. That's that. As long as we can be heard.
That's the important
main thing for us, yeah. But as we were saying, obviously the league's the main thing. I think that'll be the case for Mickleover as well.
Yeah.
Looking at the team sheet, it's not actually a massive. I don't think it's a weak side at all. For us, from our perspective, we'd love a little trip to Pride Park for the final.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad at all.
And as a win's always invited, and it's one of them where we need to. I think. Any sort of confidence wouldn't go amiss ahead of the trip to Brackley on Saturday. I mean, we've had a bit of a bogey kind of team thing going on with Brackley over all the time I've been here, where I've not seen us beat them. It's one of them where if we're going to go there and get something, it'll be a massive result, which could be a big game changer.
Yeah.
For our season and its trajectory with the way it's been going. But like we say tonight, it's a chance for the boys to get a win under the belts, but they're expected to get a win under the belts, which was the case on Saturday as well against Warrington, which obviously did end up being the case after the kind of comeback from Warrington in the last 10 minutes to get a point on the board for them, which I believe lifted them off the bottom spot from Saturday as well. So a big point for them, and it was a big 2-point drop for us. But it's one of them we expect to win tonight, and it's been a disappointing couple of months in the league, and it's one of them where I said on Saturday if we didn't beat Warrington I'd start looking over my shoulder and getting a little bit worried, and I think if we don't win this tonight with the team we're putting out, I think we're in some serious bother, and we're going to really have to pull it out the bag towards the end of this season, because if we can't beat, no disrespect to Mickleover, but if we can't beat a lower league side in the cup with a full strength team out, it's looking really bad, and this rough patch could carry all the way to the end of the season.
Yeah, I think you're right in what you say about not being able to beat Mickleover would be a little bit of a downer, or a big downer for the players as well, more so, but with the fans. And like you were saying about both teams having rotated a little bit, our good friend Callum, who's doing the socials for Mickleover tonight, informed us after interviewing their manager at the weekend that obviously he didn't explicitly say that they're not going to play a strong team in this game, but he did say that their focus has to be on the league as well. which would imply that they're not going to go hell for leather in terms of the lineup tonight. But we should be seeing an entertaining fixture nonetheless. Alfreton in desperate need of a win, I think. Whether that comes to this evening or it comes on Saturday, a win would do, at least do something for the team's confidence and the team's morale going into that away trip to Brackley, which the supporters won't enjoy if they're going via train, because it's impossible to get to. There's no train station in Brackley, so you're going to have to enjoy a train to Banbury most likely, and then get the bus from there.
Well, the word on the street is it's not going to be an easy drive either to Brackley, with the apparently the road's closed.
Yeah.
So
ideal.
If you want to go on the train, you're going to have a tough time. If you're going to drive, apparently you're going to have a bit of a tough time. But like we say, it has to be. It has to be a win tonight, and this is the opportunity for the lads to start getting some goals under the belts.
Mm-hmm.
I think tonight, what we need, I'm not necessarily saying this is what's going to happen, but in the bigger picture, the things that we need if we want to carry any momentum into the league on Saturday is they've got to put 4 or 5 past Mickleover tonight, get themselves in that into the final of the Senior Cup, and then they can go into Saturday, with a couple of goals under the belts. I'm sure the lads who score, it's got to be, I think the goal scorers need to be spread around as well.
Yeah, the forwards have got to be
so
looking at this game tonight.
I've got to feel around. I think one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is I was really impressed with Akil Francis on Saturday afternoon. Yep. He was really, really good, bright against Warrington. He deserved a goal. He didn't quite get one, and in the end I give him the kind of man of the match for us.
The Matty man of the match.
Matty man of the match, which always goes to an Alfreton player. Which he stays in tonight, and I think this is an opportunity for him to grab 1 and 2, get himself off the mark, keep his kind of rich vein of goal-scoring form across non-league going, and maybe carry something in to Saturday if he starts. Jake Day on the bench once again tonight. On the bench again tonight, Jake Day, after he sustained that ankle injury at Scarborough, and it was up in the air how long he'd been out. The original rumour for me on the bus is I heard 6 weeks on the bus back from Scarborough, but he could come off the bench for a little cameo on Saturdays on the bench tonight. So it's obviously not as bad as the first thought. We'll get to your questions in a moment, but the teams are coming out well, there isn't a tunnel, the tent.
The gazebo that's over there. I think they're coming from behind it, actually, from some sort of building. But yes, the teams take to the field, and we shall run you through the teams, starting with Alfreton tonight in their blue away strip, Mickleover in their usual red and black. Alfreton Town start off with David Robson between the sticks, comes in place of Jake Askew, which you'd imagine is rotation related more than anything. The defence looks like this: David Solodemi and Max Hunt, the centre halves, double low knee pairing of Matty Carson and Luke Mattison making up the full-backs on the left and the right. Midfield 3, we think it's going to be with Adam Lund at the base of it, and Liam Waldock and George Cantrell either side. Wingers of Sam Osborne and Lewis Salmon, and as we mentioned, Akil Francis keeps his place through the middle. And the 5-man bench: Adam Anson, Nathan Newell, Jed Abbey, Owen German with a rare spot in the side, and number 9, Jake Day.
Yeah, and for our host this evening is number 1, Yusuf Merson in goal, 2, Jake Bennett, 3, Ryan Wilson, 4, Gabriel Adebambo, 5, Michael Hollingsworth, 6, Daniel Benson, 7, Brandon Ferron, 8, and Captain William Atkinson, 9, Stuart Bevan, 10, Tyrese Palmer, and 11, Joshua Mascal. And on the bench is 12, Kieran Keane, 14, Liam Carter, 15, Toby Smith, 16, Finn Flanagan, and 17, Chris O'Grady. Well, as we wait for kick-off, I'll just come on to Tom's question about the loan players. Obviously, you've not seen them play yet.
You've seen them more to
the time you'll see them don the Alfreton colours, but I went up to Hereford away, watched Carson and Matheson, and I thought they were both pretty bright, to be honest. I was more impressed with Matheson than Carson, I do have to say. Matheson had a couple of dodgy touches out the game, but he showed desire, strong challenges. He was defensively sound. He won some headers for not being the biggest lad as well. He was up and down. I was quite impressed with him. I think a couple of the criticisms I had can put it down to just match sharpness. I think he'd only played 10 or so games so far this season, so it's game time, but not every week. Carson, I liked the look of him He didn't get too involved in the game as much as Matheson did. He put a good cross in early on, which I was impressed with. And to be honest, if you're flying under the radar and I'm not noticing you, it's probably because you're having an average game.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing at all.
Which is not a bad thing at all, yeah. So hopefully tonight he can, excel against a lower league side and we can see a bit more about him. But as far as I'm concerned, I think Matheson looks like a real addition to the squad. Something different. Obviously at Scarborough we saw Newell come on in right back, so now we've got that backup right back who's got a bit more pace injected to the team. But I'll trail that off now as the game gets underway. Take it away.
As we do, Alfreton Town with the kick-off from our perspective, shooting from left to right. A direct route taken from the kick-off, hands Alfreton a throw-in, but the option to go long from Adam Lund not used initially, so Mickleover back with possession. Matheson with his first touches. Headed forward by Adam Lund. Mickleover with it now, looking to bring it out to the left-hand side inside their own half. Touch in the midfield by the centre circle. Mickleover immediately giving us the impression that they're going to be looking to keep the ball on the floor where possible, and I think on this surface that's not going to come as too much of a surprise, but they concede possession. Waldock stepping in to intercept. Doesn't get it back from Carson on that left-hand side though. Back to the Mickleover goalkeeper and long he goes.
Just a quick there, as that kind of kick goes long from the goalkeeper, is you saw Keil Francis kind of bearing down on the goalkeeper. A little bit of a sprint, something we saw on Saturday. A bit more of a pressing game he has than Jake Day, which will be exciting to see as Alfred win the ball back inside their own half and get it out of touch for a throw-in. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I was retrieving the team sheet, but we should be back. Mickleover back with the ball inside their own half. Captain Will Atkinson and former Alfreton player concedes possession again. Keil Francis stepping in to intercept, brings it out to the right-hand side. Not too much support in the area, and he looks to play it off his man and win the corner. Atkinson did track back in an attempt to atone for his error, and he did in blocking the cross, but in doing so allows for Alfreton to win their first corner of the evening. Yep. Will Atkinson, not the only former Alfreton player in the side, as we mentioned. There's 3, Jake Bennett, the number 2, and the number 12, Kieran Keane, who's on the bench. Both former Alfreton players as well. We're going to see the delivery from the right-hand side, Alfreton, with Max Hunt, Solidemi, and Keil Francis in that little love train on the edge of the box. It's a low delivery, looking for the edge. Players inside didn't look happy with that one, as Mickleover very easily step up to intercept the ball. Look to come forward now with the number 7, Brandon Ferron, down the left-hand side, up against Matheson. He lays it off to the number 6, Benson. Looks to hook it inside the area, looking for Bevan, but Adam Lund's happy to see that one out for a goal kick. It goes over all of the Mickleover players inside the box. Rolls out and gives David Robson his first chance to get on the ball this game from a goal kick.
Tom just pointed out about Carson. He's got a useful skill set of the crosses, set pieces, free kicks. He did stand over a free kick against Hereford that went over the bar. I was surprised to see him kind of stood over it, because Sam Osborne, since he's come in, has been the one who kind of stands over the set pieces, and he just took that corner we had there. So it'd be interesting to see if there's a free kick on the edge of the box. Obviously there was one late on against Warrington that
I'm going to have to cut you off, because Lewis Summons flicked that one off for Francis, gets a shot away on the edge of the box, but it's blocked immediately. Waldock does pick it back up though, looks to lay it off to Mattison. He sells him a little bit short, but the right back recovers. Comes back to Liam Waldock. Brings it back to the halfway line and eventually all the way back to Robson.
Danger of an Alfreton team, you can go from the keeper from the ball to being through in about half a second.
Nightmare for the commentary sometimes. And Robson does go long. Francis contesting that one twice. And eventually drops to the Mickleover fullback Ryan Wilson, who clears up the line. Max Hunt gets the initial header to it, but back with the number 7, Brandon Ferron. Puts a cross in from the left-hand side. It was aimed at Bevan, headed out of the box by the recovering Hunt and hooked further clear by Waldock. Francis brings that down on his chest. Lays it off well to Adam Lund. He's got Lewis Salmon making the run in behind. He's kept himself onside. Good touch from Lewis Salmon as he bears down on goal into the area. Takes himself a little bit wide, does get the shot away, and it's a good save in the end by the Mickleover goalkeeper, Yusuf Mersin. But promising signs in the early stages for Alfreton, and Mickleover do have a player down, and the physio waved on as the fullback, I think it was. No, it's not the number 3. One of the defenders. It might be the number 4. Adebambo, who looked to recover and make that block, has now stayed down by the touchline.
That was absolutely abysmal defending from Rhys Williams for Mickleover. It was
Kept him well onside.
Yeah, really, really good work from Akil Francis initially. Chest plays it out to Adam Lund. Lewis Salmon sets that in behind, and Williams, he's the deepest man of the back four for Mickleover. Keeps Salmon onside, but as the ball leaves Lund's foot, he steps up to come the wrong side of Salmon, which then leaves him miles out of position, and Lewis Salmon all the way out on the right-hand side just to bring that ball down with absolutely no pressure, no one around him. Obviously, someone eventually got across, pushed Salmon a little bit wide, which meant the save was pretty straightforward for the goalkeeper. But if I'm an Alfreton player now, I'm looking down that right-hand side and hoping that you can target Wilson, because that was absolutely shocking defending, the way to kind of the decision to step up there.
I was going to say, it looked like
left his team with the trousers down, really.
I was going to say, it looked like he was the sort of waiting for the rest of the back line to step up with him, and nobody did, which just left Lewis Salmon completely free. A good take initially to get it under control, and then his touches into the area. His final one took him a little bit wider than he would have liked, I think, which, as you say, then made the save slightly more routine for the number one Mersin. But I think Mickleover are going to be forced into an early change. We saw the man go down, and not too long after that, the captain, William Atkinson, turned around and signalled to the bench that a change is going to be required. So not an ideal start for the hosts, and we'll bring you confirmation of the what seems to be inevitable change when it happens. And it was in fact the number 6, Daniel Benson, who was struggling after trying to make that recovery block.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be limping too badly.
I was going to say, he is going to be taken off and sort of sent behind the goal back for some treatment. So there won't be an immediate change, but there is a man on the bench getting kitted and ready to come on. Yeah,
looks like a sub. The referee's holding it as well for the substitute by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen. London was trying to hurry the referee on to get that corner into the box.
We have got the substitute on, no board from the bench, so we'll have to wait until he turns around to show us his number.
Any danger?
No, he's going to be good and do his marking job. Well, Alfreton, nonetheless, with the corner from the right-hand side, in the air this time towards the head of Hunt, who was the target, but his header just wide of the left-hand post. And it's the number 12, former Alfreton player Kieran Keane, who is introduced in place of the injured number 6, Daniel Benson, for Mickleover. So the hosts forced into an early change in this one. Looks like it might be the captain, Willingsworth, who drops into that back line to sort of cover as a makeshift centre-half, with Keane slotting into the midfield. So Mickleover unsettled in terms of their shape as well through that injury. The goal kick, bit of head tennis in the midfield, ends with Mattison laying it off for Max Hunt. Looks to go down the line towards Salmon on the right, headed away by Wilson. Keane and Waldock battle for it. Waldock comes away with the ball, lays it off to Francis, out to the right for Mattison, edging towards the corner of the box, looks to get a cross away, does get the cross in, and it's cleared away by Willingsworth at that front post, and eventually free kick awarded to Mickleover inside their defensive third on their left-hand side, Alfreton's right-hand side. The goalkeeper steps up to take this one.
A bit of a soft free kick there. I wouldn't have said Matheson did anything too penalisation worthy. Just kind of, he had his hands by his side, he's put his body into the back of the player, but he's not used any any unnecessary force. The play's moved a little bit easy for me.
Well, Mickleover looked to go down the line up towards that winger Ferron again, who seems to be their sort of target from these long balls, but he's not had much luck so far. Salmon himself tries to poke it around the corner. He managed to beat the defender there, but the ball's ended up just running over to that opposite flank. The Mickleover fullback, Bennett, not having too much of a hard time to recover that one, but the long ball eventually doesn't find the feet of a Mickleover player, goes all the way out for another Alfreton goal kick.
Yeah, I think you wanted Bevan to run.
Yeah.
Bevan.
I think we're gambling on Bevan.
Yeah, we're gambling on that. It looked like he wanted him to run him behind. He didn't. He stayed. The ball just trickled out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Stuart Bevan. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying, looking at the comments, apparently Carson is something of a free kick messiah, which you're really getting me excited now for a free kick. So bring him down. Bring him down.
Well, Adam Bland looks to clip a ball in behind here. Osborne comes over from the left-hand side to the right to get onto it inside the area, lays it off a Waldock. I think the offside flag's gone up. Ball does end up in the back of the net from Lewis Salmon, but Waldock was quite visibly offside, even from up here. As that pass was played, the linesman's got that right by the looks of it. And yeah, I was just going to point out Stuart Bevan, player coach for Mickleover, 39 years of age per the FOTMob stats as I've looked. Also something of a painter decorator, we've been told. As Alfreton look to recover possession, Francis nodding that one down for Waldock. Tries the ball over the top, but gets caught in the air a little bit. Mickleover look to clear their lines. Into the midfield now with the number 4, Adebambo. Still has it, the number 4, bringing it forward into the Alfreton half. Lays that one off for the substitute, Keane. Out to the left for Wilson. Back to Keane on the halfway line. Drops it back into his own half for his captain, who seems to be staying in that left centre-half role as something of as a makeshift centre-back, having to adjust shape with that injury. Atkinson does carry it forward now. Over to Wilson. Comes back to Atkinson on the halfway line again on the left-hand side. Drops it into his centre-back partner, Hollingsworth. Cross to his right back, Bennett. Looks to go down the line. The pass is intercepted by Sam Osborne, but doesn't do enough to keep it under control. Rolls out for a throw just in front of the visiting bench this evening. Throw from the right back does go down the line, immediately cleared by Solademi, straight out for another throw. I'll have a little repeat just at 10 yards or so further forward for the hosts. Bennett drops that one in field, plays a 1-2. Goes back to Adebambo. Atkinson. Across to Wilson. Does well to deal with the pass. Ferren looks to get beyond Mattison, but the Loney does well. Shepherds it and gives it back to Max Hunt, who goes up the line looking for Francis. Headed forward by the Mickleover back line. Mattison does well to evade the challenge of Brendan Ferren, and the ball hooked forward, aimed at Francis and Salmon. And the goalkeeper in the end does well to kind of feint the save there, but I think it's in the end come off of a Mickleover player regardless, so there will be another Alfreton corner, the 3rd of this evening, and the 3rd one from the right-hand side as well. Osborne trots on over to take this one, and we'll see the usual suspects. Solademi and Hunt heading forward into the area. Fullbacks Mattson and Carson staying back on the halfway line, along with George Cantrell, who's deep. Every other Alfreton player, though, a target for this corner. Lundy's in there as well, along with Francis in that 4-man train. The corner is delivered towards the centre of the area, headed away by a Mickleover man, only as far as Adam Lund, who's happy to let that one trickle off for another corner. Osborne prepares for a repeat delivery from that right-hand side. Francis leaves the 4-man train this time. Osborne's waved on. Corner is delivered to the centre of the box again, headed away by Mickleover, only as far as Waldock on the edge of the box, who tries his luck from 25 yards on the volley. Not too far over, but not able to keep that one down on the volley. Was always going to be asking a lot of him to find the back of the net from that distance, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think he had time to maybe take a touch, set himself there. And, you know, we've seen when Waldock has that kind of time to take one touch, set, and then shoot, he can be really, really dangerous from that kind of distance. But he opted to take it first time, try and stroke it, but he couldn't quite get the connection he wanted.
Well, Mickleover's goal kick. Possession overturned immediately. Waldock opting to take the safe route, knock it back to Robson. He goes direct himself with a thunderous kick up towards Francis. It bounces. Bennett does well to deal with the bounce. Osborne looks to recover and make something of it, though, but Mickleover come away with the ball. Adebambo drops the shoulder, lays it off to his wide man, who sprints out towards the right-hand side, lays it infield to Bevan, almost slips, but keeps his feet, the number 9. Delivery from the right-hand side is not too much of a problem for David Robson to deal with in the end. First real attacking signs from Mickleover down that right flank.
I've been really impressed with Adebambo early on in this game. He seems like the bright spark in this Mickleover side. He's injecting a bit of intent, a bit of pace. He seems to be a nippy little player.
Yeah, nice little drop of the shoulder to cut inside and then play through his right winger, Joshua Maskell, whose eventual cross didn't trouble Robson all that much. But yeah, positive signs for the hosts. Down those wings, I think, is where they're going to look to hurt us. We've seen a couple of times the number 7, the opposite winger, Ferrant, has sort of been the target from these long balls, looking to give Matteson a hard time. Mickleover with a throw, just inside their own half. Might be inside the Alfreton half, actually. Slap bang on the halfway line. 1-2 between Bennett and Keane. Goes back to his centre half. Then further back to his goalkeeper, Merson. Under pressure from Francis. Merson goes long. And his kick, not able to find a red shirt, or any shirt for that matter. Straight out of play for an Alfreton throw. Carson put the ball in his arms, but I think we all know who he's going to leave this one to.
The thing nearly found Billy Heath. The ball out there. Although he was unfazed, let it just go straight past his head.
Yeah, nonchalant, mate. Adam Lund lines up the throw. About 40 yards from goal, but that's not a problem for him whatsoever. He strides forward, takes that throw inside towards the box, flicked on at the front post. Both sides claim for the ball to be theirs, and it's Alfreton who have the award go their way with a corner. This time from the opposite side. We've seen 4 taken already from the right, but Osborne maintains his duties from the opposite side. Looks to be, well, either an in-swinger or he'll sort of drill it or lift it. Hopefully not what we saw from the first corner.
Different back 3 as well. Matheson, Lund and Cantrell.
Yeah.
Carson's.
Well, he does go low to Carson, who's unmarked. His shot is blocked. The follow-up clipped into the area. Did the right thing trying to find a body in there, but Mickleover haven't got too much of a problem to come away with possession there.
Would have been good if we scored there after I pointed it out.
Yeah, it would have been. Bevan with a nice little touch inside for his captain, Atkinson. Comes across to Wilson on the left-hand side. Looks to spray a diagonal pass to the right winger to Maskell. It's a good pass and a decent touch from the winger. Tries to get beyond Carson, but the defender does well just to put enough pressure on him to see the ball out for a goal kick.
Great way to pass right over the head of Carson. Just one of them ones where he's backing up in case it drops to him and he can intercept it. He can't. It's just over his head. And the winger's touch is really great. It's into the space in front of him. He can now attack the byline. It was just a little bit too heavy, and Carson recovered well to be able to shepherd out a player.
I was going to say, that's another thing to point out. We saw the first corner that Alfreton tried this evening was a sort of roller to the edge of the box, but not enough conviction on it from Osborne, and Mickleover came away with it straight away. That time, though, it worked a treat. Found its way straight to Carson, who was unmarked.
Yeah, but this side it was on his favoured left foot. The other side it was clearly someone who should have been running to the edge.
Yeah, and nobody got there.
Footer.
Well, Max Hunt with a clearance that strikes the roof of the stand that we currently reside. You might have heard that.
Yeah, we weren't hit by thunder. It was just...
just a Max Hunt clearance, which will give Mickleover a throw-in on this left-hand side by the halfway line. Duties left to Ryan Wilson, the left-back. Waits for the option, throws it infield towards Ferrant. Takes the touch away from Salmon, goes back to Wilson. Brings it down on his thigh before laying it off to Keane, who hooks it down the line looking for Bevan. Cleared away, though. Adam Lund furthers it to Wilson. He knocks it back, though, for his skipper, Atkinson. Back to Hollingsworth. Bennett now on the right-hand side. Good chop in on Osborne for Bennett to find Adebambo in that deep midfield role. Number 4 drops in to lay it off to Atkinson. Now Wilson looks to clip it into that space between the fullback and the centre half, but the runner wasn't there for him.
Bevan hates running.
All the way through to Robson. Yeah, it's kind of in that sort of half space that you want either your front man or one of the wingers to be darting into, but in that scenario, unfortunately for Wilson and for Mickleover, there was nobody in that space. Robson will gratefully claim that one with relative ease. He drops the ball out for himself on the edge of the box, rolls it forward before sending it long up towards Osborne. Headed away by Bennett into that midfield. Flicked on by Palmer. Mickleover still with it. Bevan drops deep. Laid off to Keane. Across to Wilson. Knocks it back to Atkinson. 1-2 with Keane. Wilson does make that overlap down the left-hand side. Atkinson tries to find him, and it's a good take from the fullback. Puts the cross into the box from the left-hand side. Bevan, the target, but Robson, it was who was found. Another ball in from the wide area that Robson's had to deal with in the early stages.
Yeah, someone actually pointed out to me when Robson was kind of starting in the league games, no, he didn't make any mistakes that led to goals. He just didn't make any saves. I think every shot he had at him ended up in the back of the net. He's back in the side tonight. Hopefully a chance for him to get a save under his belt. But obviously I've not seen every game he's played, but as far as I'm concerned, I was told that he's not made any mistakes. Just every shot he's conceded has ended up in the back of the net.
The unfortunate life of a goalkeeper. As Mickleover looked to come again.
That's a save.
Down that right-hand side, and that one was a little bit more of something for Robson to deal with. Had to come off his line and dive for that one, as opposed to just claiming it rolling to him. But cross from the right-hand side from Maskell forces Robson into his first bit of real work this evening, claiming that cross. We'll send that drop kick. Gets a lot of backspin on that one. Into that midfield zone. Keenan Waldock contest it. Waldock does come away with it, laid off for Lund. Looks to take the route down the right-hand side towards Salmon, but it's cleared away by Wilson. Lund tries to head it up into the air, goes in for it again. Adebambo eventually puts a stop to that. And Waldock brings the ball under control with his feet, laid off to Max Hunt. Looks to clip one down the line towards a combination of Salmon and Francis. Salmon does flick it on. Francis does his best to keep that one in play, but even with his speed, he's not able to get onto that one. Trickles out for a Mickleover goal kick.
Yeah, unfortunately, Francis just had to slow down his momentum a moment just in case Salmon did get that flick on, otherwise he would have been offside. He holds his run well, stays onside, but then it's just a little bit too... I mean, the way Mickleover are sat is they're quite deep. When that ball goes over the top, if you're going to flick it on, there's not much space in behind to work with. You've got to kind of head it across that line. Yeah,
or you have one of those moments where you catch out the fullback like we saw really early on when Wilson stepped and nobody else helped him out. He sort of hung the rest of the back line out to dry and Salmon got in behind with ease, but since then they've been a lot more compact. They've sat a bit deeper, probably in the knowledge that they're adjusting with an unnatural player in that back line as well, with Atkinson having to cover for the injured Benson. And Mickleover's goal kick did go short. Osborne tackled the fullback again to put it out for a Mickleover throw, but they've come back across to the left and back across to the right again with Bennett. Osborne blocks the pass once more. This time, though, it stays in play. Francis tries to prod that one through, but Bennett recovers. Nice little turn to get away from the on-rushing Osborne. Brought across to Atkinson. Infield to Tyrese Palmer. Atkinson again. Plays the 1-2-3-4 with Palmer. And then the pass inside to Farron was Palmer wanted that one back out on the left-hand side, but slightly overhit from the winger. Results in an Alfreton throw and a chance for Adam Lund to launch this one down the line, which he will do exactly that towards Francis. Tries to bring it down on his thigh, just about gets away from him though. Mickleover clear their lines. Lund and Palmer come together, and the former penalised for that interaction. Mickleover with themselves for a free kick deep inside their own half. Wilson wanted to take that one quickly. He saw Josh Maskell making the run down the right-hand side, but Francis sort of stood in the way of it enough to the point where he couldn't do it, but not enough to the point where he was actually obstructing the play to get booked. And the free kick did go long. Alfreton come away with it. Into the feet of Francis, gives it back to Waldock, who's under pressure from Keane, who concedes the foul. Near the halfway line. Waldock, I mean, he had a lot to do having the ball fizzed into him in that area, and probably that's the best outcome because there was no pass on for him.
Yeah, just quickly coming on to Mickleover's kind of shape, the system they're playing. It looks like a kind of that 4-2-3-1. You see double pivot, the 10. Interestingly, he's everywhere, completely free roam. I've seen him drop into kind of the back three to pick the ball up. He's shifting from left to right. Kind of out of possession, he is staying central, but in possession, he's got complete free roam. So you've got to watch out for where Palmer's going to end up, because he is really kind of dropping into any pocket everywhere. And a couple of times he's dropped right into the back line to pick it up.
Well, Max Hunt eventually sends that free kick long up towards Akil Francis, who does win the flick. Salmon with it now, looking to get things back under control, lays it back off to Max Hunt, pressured by Stuart Bevan. Hunt does come away with it though, with a little bit of luck there. Waldock knocked down the line for Matteson, tries to get his cross in, and Salmon tries to improvise to get that one under his control, but unfortunately for the winger, ends up with the Mickleover goalkeeper grasping that one to his chest as he tried to restart play quickly. Francis and Bennett battling for that one. Firm challenge from Francis, and the referee gives the foul, I think, rather than the throw. Yeah, he's talking to Francis, so I think that will be a free kick for Mickleover deep inside their own half and Merson to take.
Not much in that, just two players battling for the ball. You saw kind of Francis moved his body across one side to the other to try and get his body around the ball, and kind of took the player to the ground as he did that. He took himself to the ground as well, kind of tripped over the player. And I thought the referee could have given that either way.
Yeah.
And because they were both battling, but I think from a kind of referee's point of view, you're always going to give that in to the defensive team rather than the attacking team.
Well, Mickleover have the resultant free kick deep into their own territory. Merson stood over this one. Players taking the positions on the right-hand side from the host's perspective. Whistle is at last blown. Merson goes long, looking for Palmer or Maskell, but it bounces straight out for an Alfreton throw. I think it's going to be... Has Adam Lund gone over to take this one to go down the line? No, he hasn't. It's going to be Carson, I think, just to hit the line, regain some territory for Alfreton. And down the line it will go towards Osborne, headed forward by Bennett, kept in play. And a foul eventually given Mickleover's way. A free kick right on the halfway line. I think it was Francis coming together with Bennett on that far side from where we are, right in front of the dugouts. Mickleover manager dishing out some instructions right in front of the free kick taker. Looks like duties will be left to Bennett. Looks to clip this one into the box. Adam Lund hasn't got too much of a problem with just seeing that one out for a goal kick. Bevan was there to provide some pressure, but nothing that Adam Lund wasn't able to deal with. Out for a goal kick for Robson to take. So about coming up to 25 minutes gone in this one. Either side yet to find the breakthrough. As Alfreton looked to come forward through Lewis Salmon's layoff, Waldock and Osborne both came over to try and get onto it, but it's Mickleover who come away with possession. Ferron down the left-hand side. Chops inside of Matteson. It's a great turn from the winger. Lays it off to the edge of the area for Adabambo, who was coming in from that midfield. But the challenge did eventually arrive from Liam Waldock. And Mickleover have themselves a throw on that left wing. Wilson steps forward to take this one. Waits for the option. Delays it, eventually goes in field to Palmer. Lays that one off for substitute Keane, and his pass looked to be aimed at Ferron, but finds itself running all the way out for an often goal kick.
Yeah, well left by Lund there. Very easy for a player to get like over eager there and just kind of boot it clear, but he did well, good awareness just to let it run.
Yeah, a point that I was going to try and get onto before that little flurry of attacks. Neither side yet to find the breakthrough. There's not been all that much action in front of goal. I mean, there was that early Salmon chance that was a fairly routine save for the goalkeeper, and then that Waldock shot from outside the box, but aside from that, we've yet to see much action in either final third from Mickleover or Alfreton. As Waldock plays this one out to the left-hand side for Osborne. Cuts inside of his man, opts to chop back outside, lays it off for Cantrill, who hasn't seen much of the ball himself this evening. Does win the throw, though, takes it quickly to Francis. Turns and tries to knock it inside, but nobody there for him to... Nobody there to receive that pass. Merson happy to be patient there with the ball at his feet. Goes long towards Bevan. Solademi beats him to it. Keane, bit of a sloppy touch, but manages to maintain possession. Goes back to Merson outside of his box. Hollingsworth infield to Adabambo. Tries to turn away from Cantrill, who's not going to let him do it that easily, but good work in the end from the Mickleover midfielder. Finds its way across to Atkinson on the left-hand side of the defence. Now Wilson. Clipped it down the line towards Ferron. Matson heads that one away into Waldock, who's got space in that midfield. Tries to knock this one down the line towards Salmon. I think it's just about stayed in play. Salmon does receive it. Cuts back. Looks for the support of George Cantrill. Man with the armband tonight. Laid back off to Salmon. Now Matteson. Alfreton come back to the halfway line with Hunt. Now across to Solademi. Looks to stride forward. All the way across to Carson. Cuts inside from the left. Still with the ball, Carson. Looks to continue driving forward. Knocks it inside for Waldock. Flicked on and left for Francis, who knocks the ball wide. I think the offside flag went up. Oh no, the Mickleover players were appealing for it, so in the end it might actually just be
Salmon was definitely onside.
Yeah, I think they were appealing for one of the two, whether it was Salmon or Francis or Waldock,
I think,
who was receiving the pass and left it.
yeah, Waldock he didn't touch the ball, let it run past him. I think if he flicked it on for someone would have been offside, but he didn't touch it, let it go through his legs, so not offside.
No, so eventually it's actually looks to be a missed opportunity for
massive.
Alfreton through Francis.
Yeah, definitely a missed opportunity. There's a good chance for Francis to get himself off the mark. Deserved a goal on Saturday.
Yeah.
Obviously, he started in the step 6 of non-league at the start of the season, made his way up to step 2. Would like to see him continue his kind of rich vein of scoring form.
Well, here is Francis over on that left-hand side, who's picked up a loose ball, gone back inside to Adam Lund, who tries to hook it down back to that left wing on his weak foot, but doesn't quite get the desired connection. And that one's straight out for a Mickleover throw.
The ball's bounced out the ground.
I was going to say,
big net on that side, which has not done its job.
Hasn't done its job at all. So a new ball required from the substitutes bench. And a Mickleover throw from their right back, Jake Bennett. He goes down the line towards Bevan, headed up, but not necessarily away by Carson. Bevan tries the little layoff to his winger, but puts too much on that one. No turf for the ball to get caught up in, obviously, on this pitch. Artificial. Probably plays into the way that Mickleover play. We've seen them sort of exchanging passes across their back line, and they're comfortable to do that. Alfreton, though, look to come forward through Osborne, though his pass picked off by Hollingsworth. Mickleover back line. Comes across now to Wilson, the left back. Goes back to Atkinson. Thought about laying that one back to his goalkeeper, eventually does. Merson now carries the ball forward outside of his area. Some instructions from a young supporter on the railing to move the ball quicker. Here is Palmer, as Matty mentioned, sort of roaming from his number 10 role, almost into left back there to play a 1-2 with Atkinson.
Here he comes, he's dropping in again.
Yeah, you can tell he wants to get on the ball, which implies that he's the sort of player that Mickleover want to get on the ball, though Wilson skips him completely to go direct. The ball up towards Adebambo, laid off to Bevan on the edge of the area. Solademi steps in with the challenge, and Cantrell eventually clears. Francis trying to win that one. Waldock bravely moves in to win that one with his head. I'm not too sure how much he did know about it, but Osborne does lay this one back off of Liam Waldock. 25 yards from goal, looks to try his luck from distance, and it's a relatively comfortable save by Yusuf Merson, but he had to make it. The shot was on target from Waldock. We've seen him score from distance, that kind of range previously this season, but not able to replicate those feats with that effort. As Mickleover look to come forward themselves down the right-hand side, it's Bennett. The right back makes that overlapping run. It's challenged by Solademi in that corner. Bit of a physical battle, and eventually the ball knocked off for an Alfreton throw right in that far side corner, right by the corner flag. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, one of them there from Liam Waldock. He kind of took the touch wide onto his right foot. He likes to go across goal, doesn't he, on his right? Looked to just kind of clip it towards that far corner, but he didn't quite get the drag on it he needed to get it right across his body and into that far corner, which ultimately meant the keeper just had to collapse down to his right-hand side and collect the ball. Relatively easily kept hold of it, but it's positive as well. It was a really good turn and kind of run towards the back line from Osborne, and the awareness to know Waldock was coming up next to him and just kind of use the outside of his foot to poke it to him was a really promising move.
Well, an equally as promising bit of skill from Sam Osborne as he leaves his man for dead. It looks to lay it off to Francis on the left-hand side. In that wide area now, goes back to Carson. The first time delivery from the left-hand side is right onto the goalkeeper who spilled it. But I think he's quite thankful that Wilson's there to spare his blushes, Salmon dives in with the challenge, and it's a good one to win the ball back for Alfreton on the right wing. Right by the box, looks to turn Wilson, and there is a foul there from the referee. Good work from Salmon to, first of all, win the ball back and then draw the foul from his from the fullback that was there in front of him, Ryan Wilson. But yeah, worth mentioning that piece of skill from Osborne.
Yeah, beautiful.
Just inside the Mickleover half, skins his man, and then knocks it down the line for Francis. He maintained the ball, laid it off for Carson, whose delivery didn't quite reach the target of the Alfreton player in the box, but it was right under the crossbar, made the goalkeeper think about it, so much so that he couldn't quite keep a hold of it. Bounced out right into the 6-yard box. Wilson came away with it, but Salmon with a firm sliding challenge on this turf, which is an impressive thing in itself, and then wins the free kick, which Carson runs over, leaves it for Osborne. Floated in towards Solidemi at the back post, but he gets his header all wrong. And Mickleover clear their lines, only as far as Carson, though, who's going to try his shot from distance. Oh, and it's snuck into the back of the net. I think it's caught the goalkeeper off guard, but it's a great hit from the low knee, Matty Carson. The left back was standing over that free kick, and we thought he might take it, but he ran over it, left it for Osborne. The ball delivered in towards Solidemi. He got his header wrong, and Mickleover cleared their lines, but Carson, having run over the ball from that free kick on the right, continued running towards the edge of the area, sort of just to the right of the D, picked the ball up, took a touch to find some space on his left foot and just curled it in towards the bottom corner. I think the goalkeeper must have seen it late as it came through that crowd of bodies, because he didn't look anywhere near it, and the shot just nestles in the back of the net into that far corner, and Alfreton Town have the lead to make it 1-0 on 37 minutes.
Yeah, I think you could see there was no doubt in Carson's mind. When that ball came to him, he was always shooting. He looked up, he saw the goal, he had space, he took the touch, got it onto his left foot, still had space, opened his body out, and it looked like he was going to try and rifle one high, but he kind of drilled it low, and it bounced awkwardly just before it got to the goalkeeper, who wasn't right after it, into the bottom corner. A beautiful strike and a great goal. I've not seen any of his other goals, but it sounds like he's got a pretty impressive catalogue.
Yeah,
and that was another one to add to it, a great strike.
Yeah, something of a wand of a left foot, per the reports that we've had in the chat, and we've seen a fine example of it there. Carson handing off in the lead. Mickleover, though, looking to come forward themselves to find an instant response. Bennett goes down in the area, but the referee looks, I was going to say, relatively uninterested in that one, is the match official. Harry Jones, the referee, not too intrigued in giving that one as a spot kick. Alfreton clear their lines up towards Osborne. Looks to turn it around the corner for Francis. Mickleover step up to intercept, though, through Hollingsworth. Goes back to Will Atkinson. Back inside to Hollingsworth. Fizzed that one into Adebambo, but he's dealt with it well. Looks to get beyond Osborne. Ends up battling his own man, Bennett, for that one, and draws the foul.
I don't think that's a foul, you know. Not to take it away, he's done really well there, but I think he's battling his own man, and that's what puts him off balance, and that's why he goes down following the next challenge. If he's not off balance there and that challenge goes in, I don't think it's a free kick. I think the referee's got to take that into account.
Mickleover take that one quickly, and Wilson tries his luck from about 40 yards, and that is, I suppose, if the stats are being recorded, that is a shot on target and a save for David Robson.
I believed you, Tom. I believed you that he was great ball striker. Well, I think that's a good one for you. You'll be happy with yourself there after telling us all that in the chat, and then he goes and wraps one of them in the first half.
Well, the Derbyshire FA social media have reported that as a Luke Mattison goal.
Yeah, well, I think it's because it's come from a fullback on the
right-hand side. Yeah,
that's incorrect. It was definitely Carson.
They've both got green boots on. Can't think of any other real reasons to.
Yeah, it's because he's on the right hand side. I think
he's come on to it.
I mean, Matheson's not striking that on his left foot, is he?
No. Well, Mickleover with the ball inside the centre circle now with Wilson, who just tried his luck from very, very far out. Gets it back from Ferron, looks to clip it into the area towards Palmer. Back out to Ferron, and the cross on the left hand side towards the far post. It is going to come to Maskell, who looks to get a shot away, and blocked by Max Hunt. Comes out to the edge of the area for Adebambo, but Waldock thumps that one clear towards Osborne, who does get there and keeps it in play. on that left-hand side, across the halfway line now, looks for the outside of the boot pass towards Waldock, who has to improvise to try and get it under control. Goes down under the challenge from Will Atkinson, but referee uninterested there. And Mickleover do clear their lines with a direct ball, but Max Hunt sends it right back at them. Heads that one away as well, as he had to deal with a second clearance. Adam Lund skips past Kieran Keane. On the right-hand side, he wanted somebody to come short. He eventually gets the help from Lewis Salmon. Cuts inside towards Osborne. Looks to flick it back round the corner for Salmon, and it's a dodgy touch. Osborne could come onto it here. Brings it away from his defender and shoots, and it's a good save in the end from Yusuf Merson. A bit of a mix-up at the back for Mickleover as Will Atkinson trying to just sort of knock it back to his goalkeeper, and then a clearance was sort of half-hearted from the other defender. Osborne latched onto it. You thought he might strike it first time, but the defender was right in front of him, so he skipped around him with the first touch, and the second was an effort at goal, but Merson was alert to come off of his line and deny him.
Great composure from Osborne just to flick it up onto his left foot. He seems pretty confident with both feet. Takes a shot well. It's a good save and a good chance for Osborne to make it 2 goals in 2 games.
But he does have a corner that he will deliver from that left-hand side, but before the ball reaches the area, the referee's whistle goes. I think it was Max Hunt that he was penalising there, who was the target for the corner, understandably, with his 6'7" height. A free kick to Mickleover taken quickly, aimed at Brandon Ferron on that left-hand side, but Matteson does enough to knock it back to Robson, who goes long himself, up towards Francis. It's contested by Will Atkinson, who does well to take the ball away from him and go long. Bevan knocks the ball across to Ferron, and referee is going to have to stop the game here as Bevan stayed down, holding his head.
He's just upset he's had to run. Honestly, Bevan might be one of the laziest strikers I've watched play football since Britta Sombolonga at the Riverside.
Well, he is about 40, mate.
Yeah, I'll retire then. Like, don't just stand up top and don't do any running for any reason. Any ball in behind, he just looks at the man who's played the pass like, are you being for real?
Well, in that instance, the ball was played to him. He won the header, and it dropped to Brandon Ferron, who carried the ball inside. Mickleover did have possession when play was stopped, so the drop ball might go their way. The physio has been waved on for Mickleover. They may be forced into another first half change, which I'm sure won't have been the plan. Yeah.
If you are just joining us, it's currently 1-0 to Alfreton, courtesy of Matty Carson. Fantastic straight from about 25 yards into the bottom corner, caught the keeper off guard.
Yeah, about 42 minutes in, we will probably see a hefty chunk of added time in this first half, as we saw Daniel Benson forced off, and he spent a little while on the ground getting some treatment before being substituted, and now Stuart Bevan as well down receiving some treatment, so I wouldn't be too shocked to see 5 or 6 minutes of injury time in this first half, as Bevan still being seen to, still on the floor. He's kind of like raised his head off the ground, so we know he's not unconscious at least, which is good. The physio, I think, is just checking if he will be able to carry on. I'm sure Mickleover will have a substitute ready out of safety protocol more than anything. Physio walks Bevan off the pitch. Think he might be forced into being withdrawn here, as much as I'm sure he won't want to be. But we will keep you updated if we see a change from the Mickleover bench. Looks like he is going to try and carry on. I would say run it off, but I'm not sure you can run off a head injury. I don't think that's how that works. So Wilson looks to find Palmer as play is back underway here. Salmon pinches it though, looks to go down the line towards Francis. Atkinson just knocks it back to his goalkeeper. Merson plays a 1-2 with Hollingsworth. Had to improvise and sort of rework that little move to reset with his goalkeeper. Hollingsworth goes direct himself this time.
It's a good ball.
Over towards Bennett, tries to knock it round the corner for Maskell, but Alfreton come away with possession. Waldock dropping in, lays it back to Hunt. Now Matteson plays it to Salmon, who's dropped back in, and I think the ball has trickled out of play there from that Matteson pass.
Yeah, he just wanted to find Salmon's feet. He was a little bit too far away from him. Salmon had to drop 5 yards deeper to try and get on the ball. It's a terrible throw.
I was going to say, surrendered possession, quite literally throwing it back to the opposition. Alfreton with the ball. Adam Lund looking to clip that one down the line. up towards Francis. Mickleover do head it away. Ball back with Adam Lund in that midfield by the centre circle. Now Carson, his pass blocked. Bevan, who is back on the pitch, lays it back to Adebambo. Pressured by Matty Carson.
Do another reverse step over?
And I was going to say he's done a couple of step overs, so much so that he's taken himself off the pitch.
Is that Chris MD?
Conceded the throw in. So Alfreton now have a chance for Adam Lund to line up one of his many trademark cannons into the area. Probably about 25 yards distance from the byline. On that far side from our perspective, the left flank for Alfreton. It's only Matteson who's stayed back on the halfway line. Adam Lund goes long into the box. Max Hunt tries his best to flick it on, but Mickleover get there first and eventually
It's going to be another one.
Clear their lines only as far as a throw-in in their own half, which is essentially the same result for Lundy.
I feel a little bit bad for Jake Askew tonight because he's had to rough it out in the peat bog of a goal mouth at the Impact, and tonight they've got a nice artificial surface. The keeper can, it's nice and smooth for him. No random potholes, bumps, or bobbles that the ball's gonna come out of.
Well, Adam Lund's throw this time does find the head of Max Hunt, but bounces straight off of a Mickleover man. It is back out to Adam Lund, though, looks to cross it in towards Osborne, who I don't think was the intended target, but had to kind of make do with it as he ran onto it, kept himself onside. But his header, I mean, it was always difficult to keep that one down. How he came onto it, didn't quite have the time to jump and get above the ball to head it into the ground. That one sails over the crossbar, but a bit of a half chance for Alfreton there.
Yeah, he just had to keep it down. The keeper had come to collect, and he was in no man's land as Osborne nicked in front. If he gets it on target, it's in the back of the net. Keeper's not in his goal.
Oh, the goal kick sent long, and Alfreton do pinch it back. Francis, good bit of work to lay it off to Waldock. Tries to play it out to Salmon. Has to battle with Wilson for that one, and Mickleover sort of half clear their lines. The ball played up. Francis nips there in front of Keane, who I don't think knew Francis was rushing in, and in his attempted clearance has just wiped out Francis instead. And the free kick awarded to Alfreton, and a booking is awarded to the substitute Kieran Keane.
That's for crowding the referee.
I was going to say, yeah, he's pointed out that there's 4 players around him, and Keane is the one that receives the caution for that.
Bit of a wet
probably
of a rule, isn't it?
I was going to say, I think it's, if he doesn't give that foul away, I don't think he's the one that gets booked, but because he's the one that's given the foul away, I don't know, they make these things up as they go along, don't they? Osborne does stand over this free kick from the right-hand side, about
kid is box office, by the
30 yards from goal. I was going to say, he's running the touchline like he's the gaffer. Sam Osborne, after receiving instructions from that young man in the stands, delivers it into the box. I'm sure that's what he told him to do. And Solademi does get his head to it. It doesn't look to be too far wide of the far post, but out for a goal kick nonetheless, which Mersin will take shortly.
You know, that kid is the same kid that runs the line at home as well when Adam Lund gets a throw in, and he's like, here's my scarf.
Gives him his scarf, yeah.
Dry the ball.
He's very popular with the fans.
Going to say, he won't need to dry it much this evening.
He was waving at me once on the live streams in the thing. I'm in the crowd.
It's a foul. Stuart Bevan penalised for a bit of a shove on Adam Lund as he looked to win that header. Just got a bit of a nudge in the back to put him off his balance. And the referee, Harry Jones, no hesitation there in awarding that one. Free kick right on the halfway line. Max Hunt standing over this one. Front 3 in their usual positions. No big men sent forward, although I think Solademi is now going to jog forward, is he? No, just take a slightly more advanced position to pick up Bevan. Hunt's delivery, right-footed, up towards Francis, is flicked on by the Alfreton man, but Mickleover look to clear themselves away from their box, but Cantrell picks it up, lays it back to Solademi. Out wide to Osborne on the left-hand side, up against Bennett. Adebambo, though, comes across to win it back for Mickleover. Maskell gets beyond Osborne, advantage played by the referee. Maskell again getting beyond his man, Carson, then looks to put the cross into the box, and it's a firm block from Adam Lund, who was tracking back, and I don't think Robson's managed to keep that one in. It will be a Mickleover corner on that right-hand side. And a chance for the hosts to find a leveller as we approach half-time.
Great run by Maskell. He showed great pace to kind of bomb down that right-hand side. used the space in front of him really well as Mickleover looked to take this quickly.
They do, they go short. Wilson lays that one off for Ferren. His delivery headed away by Max Hunt. Further clear and out for a throw by Liam Waldock, but that will be half-time. The referee blows his whistle. Alfreton Town go into the break with the lead, courtesy of that Matthew Carson strike from outside the box into the bottom corner. Lovely little effort on his left foot to give the Reds the advantage at half-time. We didn't see any added time go up. I don't think they've got the board with them today because we didn't see it for the sub. But, yeah, Alfreton a goal to the good for the first time in a little while. Well, we were a goal to the good at half-time against Warrington, so we won't speak any more of that. I won't jinx it. And we will catch you for the second half here in this Derbyshire Senior Cup semi-final.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you then.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our live watch-along for this Derbyshire Senior Cup semi-final as Alfreton take on Mickleover at the Don Amott Arena. If you are just joining us, Alfreton Town have the advantage, 1-0 lead at half-time, courtesy of a Matty Carson goal from outside the box. Lovely little strike into the far corner on his left foot as Mickleover get things started again for the second 45. Place at in the final at Pride Park is at stake against the winners of the other semi-final, which sees Buxton take on Derby County's under-21 side. I think we've not seen any changes at the break from either side. Obviously, Mickleover were forced into that early one with Kieran Keane coming on in place of Daniel Benson through that injury. But I don't think we're seeing any other changes from either team at the break. As Mickleover happy to maintain possession on the halfway line with Wilson now. See if he comes across the back line. Works its way across all of the back four. Now with Jake Bennett. Back to Hollingsworth. Atkinson now, who hasn't looked too out of place at centre-half, it must be said, as he looks to drive the ball forward and draws the foul from Lewis Salmon as he looked to maraud inside, and Wilson drills this one quickly over to the far side for Maskell, sizes up against Matty Carson, cuts in onto his left foot, takes a touch into the area. It was a good little shimmy, but his second touch just took the ball away from him and allowed for Alfreton to clear their lines fairly simply. Ball back with Mickleover though, inside their own half. Ryan Wilson has it again. Goes out to Ferron on that left wing by the halfway line. Drops this one back to Kieran Keane. Now Wilson looks to hit this diagonal pass again over towards Joshua Maskell, but it's headed away by Carson. Bounces up towards Francis. He heads it twice, but Mickleover happy to pinch the ball back there following that little bit of head tennis. And now Jake Bennett has himself some space on the right-hand side, lays it off to Maskell. The pass is a little bit heavy. Manages to keep it in play though, but Matty Carson steps in, does his best to try and win it back, but Mickleover maintained possession. Adebambo goes across to Wilson, who's inverted. Now finds Ferron on that left side, up against Matteson. Looks to shift it onto his left foot. Matteson blocks the cross. Goes out for a Mickleover throw near the corner flag on their left wing. Wilson looks like he's going to come across and handle duties here. He's going to have to wait for the option to present itself. Palmer, Ferron both running short. Eventually tries to knock it into Palmer, who does get it under control. Plays that one back for Keane, touch inside on his left foot. Looks to knock it back through towards Ferron, but that one just runs beyond him. And straight out for an Alfreton Town goal kick for David Robson to take from the left-hand side of his 6-yard box. But yeah, outside of that Matty Carson strike in the first half, there really hasn't been a whole lot of action in front of either net. Obviously, we mentioned there was that Liam Waldock chance from outside the box. There was an early Lewis Salmon one, which was a bit of a half chance. Sam Osborne probably had the biggest one outside of that as he took the ball around the goalkeeper. Alfreton will be wanting to add to their advantage in this second half, and they may do so as Matteson crosses the ball in from the right-hand side. There were bodies in the box. Akil Francis and Sam Osborne making up those numbers, but the cross from the low knee sails over all of the blue shirts and all the red shirts for that matter inside the area, straight out for a Mickleover goal kick. But yeah, I think Alfreton have got to add to their advantage, as we saw at the weekend. Even with that goal cushion, a game is never won as late as it gets, but with only the one goal in it, Mickleover will be fancying themselves just to nick something as long as the game stays at this scoreline. Robson looks to go along towards Salmon, tries to sort of take the touch on the turn, but surrenders possession to Wilson. He looks for Palmer, headed away by Hunt. Waldock tries to battle for it with Keane, and eventually Keane does come away with it, knocks the ball down the line, back towards Palmer, tries to drill it into the box towards Bevan, and he slides to try and get there, but the ball just about evades him. Maskell does well to recover that one and keep it in play. Lays it off to Adebambo, challenged by Cantrell. Mickleover man comes away with the ball in midfield, goes back to Keane. Tries to find the ball out wide towards Ferren, but it was misplaced, and Mattison's interception isn't enough for the Reds to keep the ball. Well, I say the Reds, Alfreton are in blue today and Mickleover in red, so I won't refer to us in that way again because that's just confusing. Mickleover still have the ball into the feet of Stuart Bevan. Tries to find Ferren and he attempts to knock the ball around the corner, but that one trickles through for Robson, and eventually one of them is going to realise that he doesn't need to pick it up yet. So I think David Robson's going to take his sweet time. And he's picked that one up sooner than he needed to be fair.
Bevan wasn't running for anyone.
I was going to say, Bevan's press of walking in his sort of general direction was enough. Robson does eventually send a little drop kick up towards Osborne. Mickleover defenders appealing for offside, but the linesman doesn't raise his flag. Osborne, little roll of the ball, lays it to the edge of the box for George Cantrell, who tries his shot, and it's blocked, but it falls for Francis, who on the turn can't direct his shot goalwards, and it goes wide of the post, over the crossbar, and out of the ground. But a good little move from Sam Osborne on that left-hand side, picked the ball up, dropped it off to the edge of the box for George Cantrell, who isn't really the man that you want to come onto it on the edge of the area, but he took a good touch to set himself, and his effort was on target. He was closed down by the number 8, Will Atkinson, for Mickleover. And the ricochet eventually fell to Francis, who did his best to turn and sort of direct a shot at goal on the swivel, but no luck for the new signing up top. Mickleover have that goal kick, which is sent long. In the midfield now, Cantrell does his best to battle for it, puts a foot in
Foul's gone
on Josh Maskell, and the referee judges for that to be too high. Free kick does go the way of Mickleover. And the referee just comes over to check if Josh Maskell is okay. Looked like a bit of a sore one if it's caught him where it looks like it has, but there was no malice in it from Cantrell. He's put his foot in to win the ball, and he got the ball. It would have been a Mickleover throw if the free kick wasn't given regardless. And the referee is going to wave the physio on for Mickleover for the 3rd time this evening. Maskell stayed sat down on his bottom, so he must be hurt to the point where he can't put some weight on his foot. He's now laid down on his back. Just judging by his sort of body language and reaction, I think it might be quite a sore one the way Cantrell's caught him. But as we mentioned, there was no malice in it, no intention to harm. It's just a fact that both players have sort of raised their foot to challenge for the ball.
Yeah, he did actually come away with the ball.
And yeah, that's what I mean. It would have been a Mickleover throw anyway. Cantrell got to the ball, but just an unfortunate collision. And Mickleover will be hoping nothing more than a bit of an impact injury, a bit of a knock. And we are seeing Josh Maskell step to the side of the pitch with a little bit of a hobble, but the physio's now just going to head back round. I think Maskell's going to be okay to carry on. He's been waved back on by the referee. Oh no, he hasn't. I think he's mistaken the free kick being waved on for him. So Maskell's going to have to wait a few more seconds before he gets back onto the pitch. Free kick is taken long towards Bevan, flicked on. Adam Lund hooks that one clear. Maskell is waved back on. He's still walking with a bit of a limp, but I think he's hoping that one's just going to be one that you can jog off in about 2 minutes. But Alfreton Town look to come down the right-hand side themselves. Liam Waldock looking to release Lewis Salmon down that right flank, but his pass overhit. Went all the way through to the Mickleover goalkeeper, Mersin, and I think for a second I thought that was going to be a back pass, but I think the pass was actually blocked by an Alfreton player. Mersin got it back, picked it up. Looking for Palmer on that left flank. Adam Lund's just forced to hook that one away down the line. Doesn't quite keep it in play, though. Mickleover are going to have a throw. Wilson takes that one quickly into the feet of Keane. Plays a 1-2 with the left back. Ball now works its way across to the right centre-half, Hollingsworth. Carries it forward. He's got plenty of space into Bennett, and I don't think that was the pass. Josh Maskell was in behind. Would have been a tricky one to pick out, but the number 11 had himself in a bit of space there. Hollingsworth opted to go to the sort of underlapping Bennett, who wasn't able to reach and get the ball under his duress. Mickleover do still have the ball, though. Deep, nice pass. Maskell lays it in behind for Adebambo, who's inside the area. I think the flag's gone up against Adebambo. So offside awarded. Alfreton with the free kick. probably on the edge of their box. Referee makes us wait a moment as he ties his shoelace. But a free kick for Alfreton, just on the edge of the box for Robson to send direct, you'd imagine. But that was a nice little, well, what would be a daisy cutter, but I don't think daisies can grow on this surface. But a nice pass nonetheless from Wilson as he found Maskell. And it was a nicely weighted ball from the winger towards Adebambo, but the flag was raised against the midfielder. Robson's free kick does go long, headed away by Mickleover and then further cleared by Wilson up towards Bevan, who actually beats Max Hunt to the ball, but concedes a throw-in anyway. Alfreton will be happy to have that little trade. Matteson with the ball in his hands, probably going to hit this one down the line towards Francis, who's made his way over to the right wing ahead of this throw. Matteson does take a decent bit of distance on it, ends up going towards Salmon. Finds Cantrell in the midfield. Matteson knocks that one forward. Back with Cantrell, chested down. Tries to hook it across towards Salmon, but Mickleover clear. Adam Lund heads forward. Adebambo now. Little bit of a possession ping-pong by the centre circle. Mickleover do eventually put a stop to that, though. The ball sprayed wide towards Maskell, who's dropped deep to receive this one. Up against Osborne. The winger goes in firm, but fair. Manages to... No, he doesn't manage to keep the ball in play. Linesman's flag does go up on Osborne. As he... well, he won the ball with the challenge, so that does mean it is going to be a Mickleover throw by that logic. Probably about 20 yards from the byline. Bennett with the ball in his arms, ready to take this one. Goes into the feet of Maskell, tries to knock the 1-2. Oh, and it's a slip from Sam Osborne, but thankfully for him, Carson blocks the cross, and eventually it is cleared. Francis tried to make something of that one up against Hollingsworth, but the defender strong enough to see the ball beyond him. Now with Atkinson. Cross to Wilson, sizing up the cross. Looks to deliver on his left foot, but it's blocked by Salmon. Falls into the feet of Waldock. He wants the foul, but Alfreton still have the ball, but the clearance is blocked by Stuart Bevan. Has the ball inside the area, goes down sort of half-heartedly trying to win that penalty, but referee entirely uninterested. Mickleover still have the possession, though. Here's Wilson again. Ferran looks to go back to Wilson. And the idea was good from the fullback, but Lewis Salmon recovers, gets to the ball ahead of Ferran, and in doing so, the winger clips his feet. And a free kick is awarded to Alfreton. Just to the right of the 18-yard area. Robson will take this one as the teams regain their shape, make their way back up the pitch towards the middle. And Robson does eventually send that one long on his right foot towards Lewis Salmon, headed forward by Wilson for Mickleover. Bevan looks to flick that one on around the corner, but Solidemi steps in to clear. Hunt again with a clearance with his head. Lund attempts the same against Palmer. Mickleover want the foul there, referee doesn't give it. Carson comes across to Osborne on the left wing. He's up against Bennett, looking to carry it forward. Nearing the area now, laid back to Carson. First time delivery on his left foot. Again, sort of in that zone under the crossbar, but not too complicated for Yusuf Merson to claim that time. And he looks to unleash Wilson on the left on a counter-attack, but the pace has been taken out of it by the Mickleover side. Eventually laid across to Hollingsworth. Now Josh Maskell, who's dropping deeper. The winger, sort of seeing him interchange positions with the right-back Bennett on this right-hand side. On the opposite flank, Ferran trying to beat Matteson to that ball, and he does so, but I think tries to sort of throw his body in the way to win the ball, and he does, but at the cost of giving up the possession in form of a throw-in. So Alfreton will send this one down the line. Adam Lund's taken the option to take this one away from Matteson just to get a little bit more distance on it. Made its way up to the halfway line and nodded away by Mickleover's shirt. Only out for another Alfreton throw, though. This time just a little bit closer to the halfway line in front of the away dugout. Billy Heath watching on in his side. Currently leading by a goal to nil. Matteson opts to go back to Max Hunt, who's under no pressure from Bevan. Hunt goes direct towards Francis. It is flicked on. Salmon tries to bring it down with his feet, lays it back off to Francis out on the right-hand side. Tackle does come in from Wilson. The left back stabs it out for an Alfreton throw, so Adam Lund knows this one is very much within his range to launch into the box. This time we're seeing both the fullbacks, Carson and Matteson, stay back along with George Cantrell. Solidemi and Max Hunt make their way forward to provide that aerial threat inside the box. Francis is in there as well. Osborne and Salmon. Waldock's on the edge. In comes the throw towards Max Hunt. Finds Liam Waldock on the edge eventually. He takes the touch before shooting. Catches that one a little bit sweeter than his one from distance inside the first half, but a bit too much backspin on it. Not quite got the power. And Yusuf Mersin makes a relatively simple claim. The ball was fined straight at him in the end. Mickleover looks to come away with it. Adebambo tries a little deft flick around the corner. Unaware Osborne's there to pick off the possession. Carson goes in field. Just about manages to get the ball to Adam Lund. Across to Salmon on the right wing. There is the overlap. Well, I say the overlap. The sort of inverted run from Matty Carson all the way from left back on the right wing. Still has the ball, Carson. Tries the left-footed cross to the back post, and it's going to run out of play. Liam Waldock was busting his gut to get in there, but unfortunately for the number 10, that one rolls out for a Mickleover goal kick, which Mersin will be happy to take. Wasn't threatened too much by that Waldock volley in the end, despite the danger when it's, when it dropped him on the edge. You're thinking, here we go, this is Liam Waldock territory. But unfortunately for the midfielder, unable to find the back of the net this time. Francis goes in slightly late on Kieran Keane from that resultant goal kick, and Mickleover have themselves a throw. Free kick, sorry, as Wilson lays that one into the midfield for Palmer. Wilson does get it back on the halfway line. Thought he was going to try that diagonal pass, but it's a little faint from the left back. Now across to Hollingsworth. Sloppy way to surrender possession by Mickleover. Cantrell knocks it back to Robson. This time Bevan does press him. Forced to clear it long towards Francis. Hollingsworth wins the header. Lund steps in though, leaves that one for Waldock. Finds Osborne, who's got acres of space on that left-hand side. Comes into the box now, and that's why he had acres of space. He was offside. Flag goes up. I was going to say, it didn't look like it from here, but the linesman did not hesitate to raise his flag there, so he must have been short. Not too many complaints from the Alfreton players either, so that normally indicates that the linesman was on the right lines. No pun intended.
Wait.
Mersin takes that free kick, goes long towards Bevan. Does win the header, and Mickleover get the ball from the sort of fallout of that free kick. Here's Bennett approaching the box, lays it off to Maskell on the right-hand side. Right-footed cross, takes a nick from Adam Lund. Robson does his best to keep that one in play, but I think it had already gone behind. Corner goes the way of Mickleover in this second half. Probably about the 65th minute. Oh, we have got a substitutions board. After all this time, we've had an existing sub. We've had the added time in the first half with no board, but we've seen some illumination down there in the dugouts. Mickleover looked to go short. Ball back with Maskell. Tries the right-footed cross. It's low. It's cleared by Carson at that front post. And that one is going to just about bounce out of play for Ferren. Chucks it infield to Keane. Goes across to the captain Atkinson. Drives forward with possession. Now Bennett on the left. Palmer tries to beat his man in Lewis Salmon, but the winger does enough of his defensive work to deter him. Cleared away. The ball eventually falls back to Bennett. Back in his natural position on the right-hand side of the back line. Goes in the field to Adebambo. Across to Hollingsworth. Now Maskell. His touch lets him down. He's tried to sort of take the touch with his right foot to feint it inside for Osborne and then knock it down the line with his left, but it rolled out of play. And I think we're going to see the first change for Alfreton this evening. Looks like it's going to be Nathan Newell, I think that is.
Yeah, for
coming on for Sam Osborne.
At least we get on board this time. Bob must have been home for it. He's forgot. Well done, Bob. You're only fourth official.
Yeah. Brilliant, Bob. Osborne withdrawn in the first change for Alfreton this evening. Nathan Yule coming on in something of a defensive switch.
He's coming at the left back.
I was going to say, it looks like Carson's heading a little bit further forward to a more advanced role. I mean, he scored the only goal of the evening so far, so that's justified for him to be that high up. Or maybe it's just for the throw, we'll see. And we are also going to see a second change for Mickleover as Jake Bennett comes off. And the board is being, I think, figured out before it's being raised. They're cycling through the numbers. And it's the number 14, I think. For some reason, the number 1 is flashing. But if we are to go by that, then it's...
number 1 is flashing.
I was going to say it's Liam Carter. Well, there's no number 4 on the bench, so Liam Carter comes on, and I think that's a double change as we see Therese Palmer withdrawn as well.
One
in place of
there's kids about.
In place of Liam Carter. Yeah, nice. And I think...
Take me off the air.
I think we are going to have to wait for confirmation on that other change because I'm a little bit confused. We need to wait for the man that's come on at right back to turn around. That throw goes down the line. Adam Lund does his best to deal with it in a crowd of bodies, but Mickleover do manage to come away with it. He's Keane in the middle, tries his shot on the left foot from range. And that one's not going to trouble Robson at all. Yep, high and wide from the Mickleover man. And sorry, so the double change sees Liam Carter and Toby Smith introduced in place of Jake Bennett and Therese Palmer. Palmer, I was warned before this game, is something of a player, and I think, you know, that's didn't come as a shock to see him in the number 10, but we saw him drifting from position to sort of pick the ball up. Alfreton haven't really let him work his magic. That's led to him being withdrawn in this second half. Looks to be 2 like for likes. We're seeing the number 14 of... I was going to say it's a poor touch from the goalkeeper. Mickleover under some pressure here at the back. Forced right into their corner by Lewis Salmon. I think in the end it was
very
Will Atkinson to come away with it. And now Ferran leaves Luke Matteson on the floor, skips inside of Max Hunt as well, and good work from the substitute. Adebambo tries to lay it back to Ferran, and I mean, referee's pulled it back for the free kick. It was a long advantage, but I think it's probably the best move that we've seen from Mickleover. The number 7, Brandon Ferran, uses his strength and his pace, powers beyond Luke Matteson, cuts inside, left it for the number 14, Liam Carter, who sort of skipped beyond Max Hunt as well. Then left it for Adebambo, who tried to knock it back to Ferran, who continued his run, but it was just slightly overhit. But the referee held the advantage. Mickleover will have this free kick about 30, 35 yards from goal. And Kits Wilson stood over it. Yeah, I think those changes are just like for likes. We've seen Toby Smith come in at right back and Liam Carter come in that sort of number 10 role. At least that's what it seems to be for now for Mickleover. So 3 changes made for them, just the 1 for Alfreton so far. Nathan Yule ends up pushing Matty Carson forward to left wing in place of Sam Osborne. Mickleover will take this free kick. Wilson stood over it, about 10 yards to the left of the centre of the pitch. Left-footed delivery, looking to cause some problems, headed away only as far as Joshua Maskell for Mickleover. Lays it off to substitute Toby Smith. Gives it back to Maskell, challenged by Carson. Maskell comes away with it and Nathan Yule forced to intervene. Knock that one out for a corner. Mickleover, you'd probably argue over the last sort of 5 minutes, the side on top. Going to look to make this momentum count from this corner. Taken short though. Laid back to Wilson, who can deliver on his left foot towards the back post, and the header comes in. Oh, and it's just about gone wide. Well, the header that was fired across goal from the man at the back post, I think it was Hollingsworth, looked like it was going to bounce into a dangerous area in the 6-yard box and eventually trickles out for a goal kick. Salmon happy to just see that one out. But, you know, should that header have gone a slightly different direction, or there was a Mickleover player making that back post run from that header, we could be talking about an equaliser there.
Yeah.
Thankfully for Alfreton, it stays 1-0. Robson can take this goal kick up towards Francis. Headed by Atkinson. Waldock tries to give it back to the defence, but Wilson clears. Matson does the same. Now ball finally on the floor with Ryan Wilson. Looks to go down the line towards Ferrin. It's a nice pass. Adam London Matson doubling up on the winger. Matson eventually blocking that cross from Ferrin. And Waldock hooks that one up the line towards the lone man up top, Francis. Tries to chest it down, do what he can with those scraps, but Mickleover have the possession now. Keane clips that one round the corner for Adebambo. I think he's kept himself on side. No flag from the linesman on that left wing. He's up against Matson, does get his cross in, looking for Bevan. Cantrell gets something on that, but Bevan still has the ball inside the area, laid back to Adebambo on the left. Left-footed cross from Wilson on the flank, cleared away by Hunt. Not too much conviction in it though. Mickleover still have the ball. Maskell on the right-hand side lays it off to Toby Smith. Looks to lay it back to his defender though, but Francis picks that one off. Cantrell now in possession with a bit of time in the middle. Lays it off to Salmon. He's got Francis making the run round the corner. Salmon ignores him, cuts inside. Looks to slot it in behind for Liam Waldock, latches onto it. But he's been forced into a wide area, tries the back heel to Akil Francis, doesn't quite come off. And Mickleover able to clear their lines. Cantrell, though, picks it back up as he looks to reignite that attack. Thought he was still going. Alfreton want the foul there. Referee uninterested, and Ferrer now in so much space by that halfway line. Sizing up Luke Matheson, drives the ball forward on that left flank. Edging closer to the box. Liam Carter picking the ball up, laying it back to Ferren. On the left wing. Goes inside to Keane now. Looks to take a touch beyond, gets the cross in, low and hard, but cleared away by Max Hunt. Picked up by Adebambo. A few shouts for handball from the Alfreton fans, but didn't look to be handball from where we were. Hollingsworth lays this one off to Maskell on the right. Cuts inside onto his left. Laid off to Adebambo. One more to Wilson. Left-footed delivery. Aimed at Bevan, who was making the run in, peeling from the right-hand side beyond Solademi, but Robson quick off his line to claim that one to his chest. And Alfreton have now sustained a little bit more pressure in the last 10 minutes. Yeah.
Francis is very isolated up the top. When that ball's going up there, he's basically being asked to do the whole lot of everything. Of, holding off his man, bringing it down and turning.
Well, Robson's drop kick looked like it might go all the way through for Francis. The ball bounced twice before anybody got to it, but it was the Mickleover goalkeeper, so we've gone from one end to the other as Mickleover look to restart their spell of momentum. Ball in field towards Carter now. He's got a lot of space, tries to slot one through for Adebambo, who is making that run into the box from midfield, but thankfully a toe on it from Cantrell is enough. Nathan Newell then clears the ball fully away. Lewis Salmon has it on the right now, near the halfway line, drops it back to Matheson. Goes all the way back to Robson inside his box on the right-hand side. Takes a few little touches before going direct towards Francis. And it's Atkinson who gets to the header first. Knocks it across to his centre-back partner, Hollingsworth. Plays a little 1-2 with his goalkeeper. Back across to Atkinson. Noticing now that the Mickleover fullbacks are very high in possession. And they look pretty comfortable. There's not too much pressure on them now with the ball at the back. And this is the sort of game that they want to be playing. Hollingsworth doesn't see the run of Josh Maskell, or chooses to ignore it. Clips it in behind towards Bevan, little chest flick out to Maskell, although the offside flag is raised against the experienced forward, who dishes out some sort of gesticulations with his arms.
Good.
Don't know who it was directed at, and we are going to see a second change.
There's 2 boards now
for Alfreton. What's happened here? We didn't get 1 in the first half, now we've got 2. It's because we took the extension lead. Well, we are going to be seeing a second change for Alfreton and a third, I think.
One's flashing again.
I'm going to say Jake Day set to be introduced in place of Akil Francis, who again has worked hard as he did on Saturday afternoon. And yeah, Adam Lund is going to be the other change. And I think it's Jed Abbey coming on in his place in that midfield. So Jake Day will slot straight into that number 9 role up top. Jed Abbey, I think, is going to take the position, sort of, I guess, of Cantrell, and the number 8 is going to drop a bit deeper to be that kind of holding midfielder.
Yeah, good to see Jake back in the team after a little injury spell, but it's one of them now where we've just said as Francis was a bit isolated. If there's anyone who can't be isolated, it's probably Jake, who immediately flicks a ball on.
Yeah, Cantrell looking to make something of this on the edge of the box and lays it back for Jake Day, who instantly tries a shot, and that's cannoned off the head of Lewis Salmon and straight out for a goal kick. I'm sure that wasn't the intended target, but Jake Day almost making an instant impact here at the Don Amott Arena.
Keil Francis getting some appreciation as he makes the round behind the Mickleover goal past all the Ofton fans.
Yeah, some warranted appreciation as well. I think he's done well this evening. Hasn't had too much in front of goal, but he's worked hard. He's been pressing the back line. But I think it is time for some fresh legs as Jake Day looks to knock that one around the corner for Lewis Salmon. Bearing down on goal on the right-hand side, and I think the pace of the ball has just got away from him. Couldn't quite get it under control, and it runs out for a goal kick for Mickleover. As we approach the latter stages of the game, 15 minutes or so left to play. Mickleover take this goal kick short. Atkinson goes across to Wilson. Looks to play it long, but Max Hunt has none of it. Up towards Jake Day, brings it down on his chest. Lays that one back off for Nathan Newell. Sucks in some defenders before distributing the ball in. Jed Abbey, not the desired first impact he would have wanted. Tries to play that one down the line to Matty Carson, who was not on the same wavelength, it has to be said.
Yeah, it was massively overhit by Jed Abbey. The idea is right to get it in front of Carson's feet, but he's overhit it, and he's now asking Carson why he wasn't running. But I think even if he was running, he wouldn't have got to it. No,
straight out for a Mickleover throw, but cleared forward by Alfreton in the end. Mac with the gloves of Yusuf Mersin rolls this one out towards Atkinson, strides forward up towards the halfway line now with Wilson on the left-hand side. Gets the pass beyond Salmon into the feet of Ferron, trying to latch onto it. But that one trickles all the way through for Robson. And he'll happily clear. Up towards Day, wins the header. Then cleared by Hollingsworth though. Adabambo into the feet of Chris O'Grady, who's just come on for Mickleover. That is the Chris O'Grady, former Football League player.
The Chris O'Grady. No one's heard of him, mate.
People have heard of Chris O'Grady. And Stuart Bevan, the equally as experienced EFL man, comes off in his place. David Robson, though, still has the ball at his feet. Knocks the ball out, just out to the edge of the area before sending it long. O'Grady looks to be putting on as much pressure as Bevan on the Alfreton goalkeeper, and that's next to none. With the ball sent over the top, looking for O'Grady. And that one's going to roll straight through towards Robson, who's cleverly just sort of palmed it down without catching it. Just to waste an extra couple of seconds before picking the ball up. As we near the sort of final 10 minutes or so, probably about 11 or 12 to go in this semi-final. Robson goes long, and after he's kicked that, he's walking with a little bit of a limp. So hopefully he's going to be okay to carry on. There is no goalkeeper on the bench for Alfreton tonight. Might be seeing Jake Day don the gloves again. Fingers crossed it doesn't come to that, but Mickleover with a free kick of their own in their own half. Atkinson drops it across to Hollingsworth. Across to Toby Smith, back to Hollingsworth. Atkinson still inside their own half. They've got men over on the right-hand side. Oh, and it's a bad touch from Atkinson, who's misjudged it, but still gets beyond Jake Day nonetheless. Smith now. Back to Adebambo on the halfway line.
I think that's the kind of a mental thing there for Jake Day. Usually just absolutely wallop the player in front of him. I think with him having an ankle injury, he's tried to flick
passive,
it over.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's something that doesn't just come back. I mean, I'm sure he'll still be feeling it a little bit. That's probably why he's not started tonight. He'll still be feeling a little bit of a click or a clack here and there when he moves his ankle around, and that's always going to be in the back of your head when you play like that. And I think that's why he's kind of gone for the neat little flick over the man rather than just going in strong with the tackle.
Well, there we go. I've had a little update. Buxton are winning the other semi-final at the moment, 2-1. with 10 minutes to go against Derby County's under-21 side. So should Alfreton make it through, that is who the opponents will be in the final. As things stand, of course, we'll bring you confirmation come full time. Mickleover have themselves a free kick, taken quickly to Ferren, who tries the left-footed cross from the left wing. Max Hunt does enough to clear it away. Matteson has to help him out, clear it further, but only as far as Wilson. Now with the feet of Chris O'Grady, tries to clip that one into the box, but Robson claims that one, not too much of a threat in there. O'Grady's probably the man that you want inside the area, but instead Adebambo was the kind of makeshift target. Robson claims that one with ease. Sizes up the long ball up towards Jake Day. Eventually takes that route up towards the number 9. Flicks it on, looking for Salmon. Smart header back, though, from the Mickleover defender Ryan Wilson to his goalkeeper. Rolls it back out quickly for Will Atkinson. Sprays it across to this right-hand side for Smith. Goes to Maskell. Smith wanted it back, but Maskell cuts inside himself. Beats Carson. Goes across to Carter. All the way across to Ferren. Left-footed cross blocked by Matteson, and I think that's hit him.
Oh dear.
In the crown jewels. He's gone down immediately. I think you could hear the impact from up here. That's going to be a sore one.
I felt it from up here.
Yeah, Luke Matteson has gone down clutching an area that nobody wants to be struck with a football in. And Alfreton did have a change ready. I wonder if they're going to adjust that. If Matteson's...
I'm ready. 3 bods are going up this time.
Yeah, should we join it? Make one with the laptop. Now we are going to see, I think, another change for Alfreton. Lewis Salmon coming off in place of... who have we got coming on?
German.
Yeah, Owen German. Has had limited game time since his arrival for Alfreton, but gets 10 minutes here against Mickleover in the County Cup semi-final. Play back underway. Mickleover tried to find their way into the box, but it's cleared only for a throw-in, though. Ferren takes that one as quick as he can, gets it to Wilson and gets it back. Cuts inside, does Ferren. Lays it off to O'Grady. Not strong enough to maintain the ball, and Alfreton clear their lines. Does get back to the Mickleover defence with Hollingsworth, but a chance for Alfreton to step back up and regroup a little bit. Atkinson carries this one forward. Goes across to Wilson. He tries the pass inside, but that's no problem for Max Hunt to clear. Fired into the chest of Jake Day, and despite his best efforts, can't keep that one under control. Here's Hollingsworth. Just bringing it to the centre circle. To the right now with Smith. Into the feet of Adebambo. Forced backwards to Hollingsworth. Goes across to his centre-back partner Atkinson. Over to Wilson on the left-hand side. Now Ferren. Goes inside to Carter. Nice little bit of a triangle there from Mickleover. Wilson just delays it. Players make the runs forward. O'Grady can't get that one under control. Surrenders possession cheaply to Cantrill, but equally as cheaply Alfreton give it straight back to Mickleover. And eventually end is put to that sequence with Jed Abbey thumping the ball clear.
If in doubt.
Up towards the Mickleover goalkeeper, Mersin. First time pass out to Atkinson. Here is Wilson, tries that diagonal pass that we've seen him attempt a couple of times. Nathan Newell looks to head that one clear. I don't think he knew that Maskell was right behind him. Number 11's pinched it into the feet of Adebambo. Carson steps in with a good challenge. Jed Abbey sets a screen for David Solodemi to come across. Knock that one up the line towards Jake Day. Hollingsworth does beat him to it. Now with Will Atkinson again, driving the ball forward, as we've seen the captain do for Mickleover many times this evening. Goes out wide to Wilson. Tries to fire it into O'Grady, but Max Hunt's happy to let him spin the ball away. And it's going to trickle through to Robson eventually, who waits as long as he can before picking that one up. Not too long to go now. In this one, Alfreton are just going to be looking to get over the line, I think. The momentum's shifted enough to the point where Alfreton aren't going to be looking to add a second. It's probably just going to be a case of seeing the game out if they can. Getting to the final at Pride Park, which at the moment looks like it'll be against Buxton, so a little derby game at Derby County Stadium. Though Mickleover will look to put a stop to this. Maskell lays it off to Smith. Right-footed cross towards O'Grady. Robson, I think, got a fingertip on that and then makes the follow-up save as Ferron came in with a shot. Alfreton clear their lines and Jake Day comes onto that one. It's a hefty touch, though. Mickleover back with the ball. That's a big chance for the hosts to get back into it. Alfreton lucky to escape there. Maskell still with the ball. Clips that one back across to Will Atkinson. Now Ferron on that left wing. Wilson goes back to Ferron. Many men forward for Mickleover here. Oh, and it's a sloppy pass, not the one they would have wanted in that sequence. I think it was the substitute, Liam Carter, who's looked quite a bright spark since he's come on. Just giving the ball away and knocking it out for an Alfreton throw.
It's getting nail-biting now towards this kind of last 5 minutes of the second period. It's one of them now where I think we've missed the opportunity to add, 2 or 3 goals to this lead, and now you've just got to try and see it out. And if it stays as it is and it ends 1-0, I think there'll be very little positives to take from this game. I don't think there'll be any negatives to take either.
No, it's just one of those, isn't it? It's like
you've come and done your job, what's expected of you, and you kept a clean sheet, you've scored, you've won, you're in the final. And that's great, but I think this was a chance to, kind of come to a lower league side, build a bit of confidence, get 3 or 4 past them, and get a couple of lads on the score sheet. I'm not sure that's going to happen now.
No. Well, I think, as you say, though, the positives will probably outweigh the negatives, and should it stay like this, obviously, fingers crossed for Alfreton. I mean, we were saying these things against Warrington, and then look what happened. But
yeah,
Mickleover looked to play the ball in behind towards O'Grady. It's a loose touch, but he manages to recover. Lays that one off for Wilson, who makes the overlapping run on the left-hand side. Up against Mattison, does get the cross away. Mattison blocks that one, slams the door shut on Wilson, but it will be a Mickleover corner. But yeah, as we were saying, it's just important for the side to remember what winning feels like. Something that happened in the last round of this cup against Ilkeston. It was a 1-0 win from a first-half goal. Liam Waldock getting the all-important goal in that one. And it looks to be somewhat of a repeat from that fixture so far. Mickleover, though, do look to come forward. Adabambo on the left-hand side lays this one off to Ferron. Goes back to Wilson, first-time left-footed delivery towards O'Grady. Solidemi improvises a clearance. Has to sort of contort his body and dive a header away, but did enough. Hollingsworth has it for Mickleover, though. Good turn from the substitute Smith. Puts in a cross on his right foot. Solidemi blocks the cross. It's not fully away, and eventually Luke Mattison has to stretch to clear that one away. Alfreton really under the cosh now. Mickleover come forward again through Ferron. Deep cross from the left-hand side. That one's not troubling anybody. Out for a goal kick, and Alfreton will take a welcome breather.
Yeah, well, 3 minutes left on the clock now, there or thereabouts, and it's really, the pressure's really piling, and it's one of them now. The question's got to be asked: can Alfreton hold on to this lead, or can they maybe grab a second on a counter-attack on a whim? It's going to be an interesting few final moments.
Well, time will tell. Robson sets up this goal kick on the right-hand side of his 6-yard box. Eventually takes it, goes long up towards Jake Day. Gets the flick on. Mickleover do clear their lines, though. Ferron nicks that one over the head of Luke Mattison. Looks to release Chris O'Grady down the left-hand side. Up against Mattison again. Quick feet from the big man. Lays it back to Wilson. Knocks it inside towards Ferron. You can tell he didn't want to use his right foot. Cantrell pinches it. Lays it off to Jake Day. Just delays it. Does the smart thing. Lays it off to Jed Abbey. Liam Waldock with a man on his back. Goes back to Abbey. And then into the feet of German, who's got space. Comes across to Nathan Newell. Back to German. Back to Solidemi. German again. Little bit of space. Goes in field towards Carson, and he's bought the foul. Done the clever thing. He's up against Toby Smith, and he's just sort of turned inside, put his body in the way. And he knows that Smith is either going to have to foul him or move out of the way. So
Impressive spell, though, the couple of the passes there.
I think that's... Sorry, I was going to say the ball's been raised, and I think that means it's 3 minutes of added time, but they've not done it properly because it said 30. And there's no sub coming on.
I'm not staying that long. I'm cutting this stream off. It's 30 minutes. I'm going home.
Well, Matty Carson does take this free kick in the box towards Jake Day, gets the flick of the back post from Max Hunt, but nothing doing for Alfreton in the end. Mickleover looked to come away with it. Adebambo goes long. Hunt heads it forward, though. Nathan Newell brings it down. In field to Carson. German eventually goes down the line towards Carson, who's in a lot of space on that left-hand side. Pulls it back to the edge of the box towards Abbey. Leaves it for Liam Waldock.
Yes!
And it's a great finish into the back of the net. That should be the game for Alfreton Town, booking their ticket into the Derbyshire Senior Cup final. There was a lot of pressure from Mickleover in that second half, but Liam Waldock, fingers crossed, has put an end to it with a nice little finish into the top corner. Carson found himself in acres of space. Mickleover gambled bodies forward, as you'd expect to do in added time, being a goal down. But Carson takes advantage of that, finds himself in space. German clips the ball in behind, and Carson's got plenty of time to pick the pass up, lays it to the edge. Jed Abbey's there, runs over the ball, dummies it, leaves it for Waldock, who takes his time before finding the corner, puts it beyond Yusuf Mersin on his right foot to the right-hand side of the goal. And that is it, 2-0. Alfreton Town should now be over the line into the Derbyshire Senior Cup final.
It's all to play for with 30 added minutes.
That's very true.
This is not over.
So we should only have the 3 added minutes of time to play, if that board is to be believed. We didn't hear it announced on the tannoy, but that's what we're going with. I mean, it seems about right, to be fair. There's not been that many stoppages in the second half, but Mickleover get the game back underway with Wilson. Comes across to Hollingsworth on the halfway line, and they're going to have to pull off something miraculous now to work their way back into the tie. Here is Maskell. Goes towards Smith, gets beyond Nathan Newell. Goes back to Maskell, who's made a nice little run. It's a good pass. Cross blocked by Solodemi, and then it rebounds right into the face of Josh Maskell from close range. A nasty little ricochet. Donked him in the head. And the referee stopped the game, but I think he is going to be okay to carry on. He's just taken a...
The ball's just at his chops. He'll be all right.
Yeah. I don't think he'll want to stop the game, to be fair.
He'll be all right.
Not long to go for Mickleover to find 2 goals to worm their way back into this fixture. But Alfreton Town, you'd like to think now, are home and dry and will finally have that winning feeling again for what feels like an eternity. They've gone without it. The last win coming against Scarborough away from home, and that was at the start of February. We've basically gone almost a month without a win. As Robson picks the ball up from that drop ball, takes plenty of time before distributing it. Eventually does go long up towards Jake Day. Lets that one bounce towards Abbey. Wilson does his best to battle for it, sees it out for a Mickleover throw. Wants to take it quickly, but the option isn't there. Eventually goes to Hollingsworth. Now Will Atkinson clears the ball, and there is the full-time whistle in both this fixture and the opposite semi-final. Buxton coming out with a 3-1 win, and that is who Alfreton Town will face in the County Cup final at Pride Park. Full-time score, Alfreton Town 2, Mickleover 0. Goals coming in the first half from Matthew Carson, and then right at the end from Liam Waldock to seal the deal. Job done, I think.
Yeah, routine, I think that should be classed as. We were expected to come, we were expected to win. It's lovely to... 2-0 looks a lot better than 1-0.
Yeah.
It looks a bit more comfortable, but that's not the reality of it. I mean, we were getting pretty nervous in those final couple of minutes, and it was a case of, are they going to get the equaliser? Are we going to see it out, or are we going to catch them on a counter-attack? And luckily it was the latter rather than the former. But like I said, not many positives, but no negatives. You can't take away a negative from a 2-0 win.
No, of course not.
So it's one of them where... Yeah, we've got the job done. We've got another win under our belts during a tough period, but it was a win we were expected to get against a side in the lower league. So hopefully the lads will take some momentum from that, a little bit of confidence, and carry that into Saturday at Brackley, which is going to be a really tough place to go, a team that we've struggled to beat for the last couple of years now. So hopefully we can go there and get a result, and kind of our fortunes will turn, begin to go more in our favour in the future. But like I say, positives are few, but negatives aren't any.
It's a good summary.
And hopefully that's, we say this kind of every time we've picked up, the Scarborough win, especially every time you kind of pick up a win, we kind of look at ourselves and go, right, hopefully this is it now, this is the
Kickstarting
win. Kickstart our new run. I mean, it's one of them where we were a team that when we're in form we're really tough to beat, and when we're on one of these kind of momentous runs, we look, really formidable at times, and it's no secret how we play football, but it doesn't look different in terms of the way we're playing this season. It's just not really happened for us, and I think as well the lads will have in the back of their head we're yet to win a game at home in 2025.
Yeah.
All of our wins seem to come on the road, and that continued on Saturday after a little bit of a disappointing collapse on Saturday in the final 10 minutes against Warrington. So it's a shame this next game's now not at home.
Yeah.
Or this game wasn't at home, because then that's it. It's curse broken. We've had both this game and the Ilkeston game away. But like I say, what more can you ask for? We would have loved to seen a couple more goals go in, and had a real confidence boost into Saturday. But I think you can be happy with that. And
yeah,
we'll take that. We'll take that in
absolutely.
our stride, absolutely. But for everyone who has tuned in on this cold Tuesday evening, thank you for watching. We really appreciate you tuning in to the coverage here at Mickleover, and we'll see you in Brackley on Saturday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.